Is gold going to give us the pullback that I talked about last week, despite the fact that Friday closed above a critical area? That's what we're going to talk about in today's video. I'll share my thoughts on where I think gold is going this week and also later this month, and also the latest on the DXY, the US dollar index. So last week, I talked about gold a couple of times. We had a video last week and then the weekly forecast. And in the first video, what I was talking about there was the potential for a rejection from this area here. This confluence of resistance, you can see a trend line off of the all-time high, despite the fact that it is a short-term level. And you've also got these two lows back here, this imbalance that was filled here on this candle right before last week's NFP. Now, I talked about over the weekend why gold rallied with the US dollar on Friday, and that's because of the strong US jobs report that came out. Typically, you'll see the US dollar move opposite to gold or gold opposite to the US dollar. And on Friday, we saw the two move together to the upside. And the reason for that was the fear of rising inflation, which gold tends to be an inflation hedge. So that's why we saw gold kind of break out here on Friday, move higher. However, Friday breakouts should always be taken with a grain of salt. I talk about this a lot, but they are lower volume. And so this was the case here with Friday. So I was eyeing this early this week for the potential for a move lower, especially when you saw the first few hours of this week starting to pull back into the support level immediately. Because a lot of times when you get an immediate retest like this here, this is a potential sign of a reversal. And you can see it, very clearly back here, right? The candle today combined with Friday's, combined with that last candle, is starting to kind of look like what we had back here from gold. Okay. And even the same thing up here, right? We had this green candle here. We had the next big red candle, went sideways, and then the sell-off, right? So you can kind of see what we're getting here from gold, potentially a move lower. However, what I talked about last week, and the same rules apply, is 2664. In my opinion, this is going to be the level that gold has to get below here in order to set up a move lower. Now, first of all, you can see we're on the 4-hour. Gold has already failed to hold above that all-time high trend line. Okay, so I've entered into a short position. You guys will remember I was short last week from 2677. I did get out of that ahead of the weekend for a very small loss. It was a partial loss. I got out because the weekend was coming up. I didn't want to hold over the weekend. And I knew I could always get back in if we got follow through to the downside. So I am back in this one. It is in profit. It is a starter position, and I will add to it, guys, if we get follow through here today. And by the way, I did mention this in the VIP group. I talk about all of my trades in real time with entry, stop loss, and take profit, plus 2 videos a week for VIP members. And we also talk about all these markets in real time. So everything from Forex to commodities to crypto to stocks, and it's all in Discord. So if you guys want to join us for 85% off lifetime access, see the link in the description of this video, or if you're on the website, click on that join VIP link. So looking at gold, guys, 2664, in my opinion, this is going to be the level to watch going into today's close. Now you can see that here as I'm making this video, we're seeing gold kind of punch below this. However, what's going to be critical here is the high time frame closes, specifically the 4-hour time frame and up. So 4-hour time frame, 8-hour daily, etc. Right? The more we get gold holding below this area here on the high time frames, the more this starts to look like a failed breakout, and the more it opens up areas like this down here. Okay, and as I discussed last week, the reason I'm still eyeing 2525 is if you go out here to the daily time frame, and this is a log chart. Okay, this is not a linear chart. This is a log chart. However, the move from gold has been, decently parabolic. I mean, it's not like the moves we get from crypto, but it is pretty parabolic, especially moves like this back here, right? And so this justifies looking at this on a log view because you have those extreme moves, right? And when you do that, and you look back here to 2023, we talked about this last week, but you can see how we have these two lows back here, and we also have these two highs. Now, this is an equidistant channel, meaning that these two levels run parallel to one another. And we haven't seen a retest of the bottom of this channel ever since early 2024. So it has been nearly a year since we've seen gold come down here and test this channel, or at least channel support. So that's one reason why I'm looking for a move down here into these lows before we get a bottom here from gold. Now, another reason for this, and I talked about this last week as well, but you can really see this on the weekly if you come in here to the price action going back to this consolidation right back here in August. So what you'll notice is that we had consolidation here for a few weeks because this is the weekly time frame. And what you'll notice is we had a breakout right here on this candle. Now, this breakout, we never got an immediate retest of this area and gold moved higher. Now, on this correction right here, you can see where gold came close to that level. However, it didn't quite test it. So this back here is still technically an open imbalance. And a lot of times these areas serve as magnets. Now you'll notice where this comes in here in relation to that 2023 channel support. Okay, so while there's no guarantee that we see a move down here into this area before we get a bounce, areas like this do tend to serve as magnets. And as mentioned last week, I am really a lot more interested in buying gold from down here in this area. Even though I have a short on right now, I'm not bearish on gold. I'm looking for a move down here for a buy that could potentially last weeks or even months. So I'm much more interested in buying gold on a sweep of this low back here into 25.25 into this confluence of support down here sometime later this month, maybe early February. I'm much more interested in buying from down here than I am shorting from up here. I have the short on though, guys, already because again, we are seeing a little bit of a breakdown, and I will add to that if we get a breakdown below that 26.64 level. All right, so let's flip over and take a look at the DXY. And the first thing that I want to mention here is that the relationship between gold and the US dollar has been very soft ever since October. And it really bodes well for gold. It shows just how bullish gold has been for really a very long time. When you look at the DXY chart and you see how the market has moved from all the way down here, right around 100, all the way up toward 110 now. Meanwhile, during that period, gold has really just done this, right? Since October, it's really just gone sideways. So that shows the bullishness here from gold just because the two tend to move inversely to one another. So the fact that the US dollar has been moving higher, significantly higher since October, and gold has really held its ground shows you just how bullish gold is. And that's again why I'm interested in buying down here over the coming weeks if we get it. Now, looking at the DXY though, we do have the market coming into some resistance up here right around 110.50 this week. So this is what we've talked about here for the past few weeks. We did see the retest of 109.50. This was the imbalance from back here. So you'll notice we got a big drop lower from the DXY, and you had this low right back here around 109.50. This was an imbalance, also a target for this market, following the reclaim down here 102.60 and also the break above this trend line. So we talked about all of this late last year, and 109.50 was my target. However, what I said following the retest there, guys, all last week, including this down here, the retest of 108, what I was talking about there was that, in my opinion, it wasn't the time to get bearish on the US dollar because 108 was support, and we still have the potential for a retest of the top of this channel up there around 110.50. Now, you may be looking at this and thinking, well, why would you be bearish on gold if the US dollar is coming into 110.50? Really, it's not very far away at all now from the top of this channel. And a couple of things. First of all, we don't know how the US dollar is going to react up here. It could just retest this, consolidate a little bit up here, and then break out, right? Furthermore, like I said, the relationship between the US dollar and gold for the past few months, and really for a while now, has been pretty soft. So I would be very careful looking at this and thinking that if the US dollar pulls back from here, that will be, bullish for gold. It could be, okay, but at the same time, the relationship really hasn't been there for a while. Okay, so I wanted to show the DXY though, just because it wouldn't be right to talk about gold without showing the US dollar chart. But I would really caution everyone to just look at this chart here on the DXY and think, okay, if we get a pullback from the US dollar, then gold is just going to take off. Because again, the relationship has been very soft for a while now. Okay, so we'll see how this goes, guys. Right now, the market is, just below that 26.64 mark. But again, wicking below this doesn't really matter. What I'm looking for is a sustained break below these recent highs here to show a failed breakout, right? You can see how well this market is held above this as key support. So if we get a failure down here today, then it does show a failed breakout above that and opens up some of these lower levels here from gold. And one target would be, obviously these lows down here, but then we have 25.84, this significant low down here for gold, right? So this would come into play first if we do get the failed breakout. All right, so failure to hold above this area through here, you get the failed breakout, and this would be your first target down here in this area, and then followed by, 25.25, potentially if we get a breakdown below here, right? It's a level by level market. Now, one thing I do want to talk about before we wrap up here is you can see here, and a lot of times when you get a trend line like this, chances are there is a trend line on the opposite end of this pattern with a similar angle. Okay, so if you look at these, lows down here, you could make the case that this is really just a triangle pattern, right? Just consolidation here from gold. So I would be really careful if you are trying to short this market with, this area down here, right? Specifically some of these lows, because chances are we probably see a bounce from somewhere in this area. Now you could draw this level a little differently. You could draw it from this low down here. You could draw it from this one. You could even draw it from this one. But the point here is that this could just be a triangle pattern forming from gold. But with that said, though, again, when I got here to the 2023 channel, and there's no guarantee that we do get a retest down here, but the fact that we haven't had a retest of this level since early 2024, and the symmetry here is perfect, right? It's perfect. I would love to see a move down here before we get that 2025 bottom from gold. All right, so we'll see how this goes, guys. All just my opinion, of course, never financial advice. Subscribe to the channel and click the bell for notifications. Don't forget to join us in VIP. Claim your 85% off lifetime access. See the link in the description of this video, or if you're on the website, click on that join VIP link. I will see you on the inside. Trade well out there, and I will talk to you again tomorrow.